Welcome to Zoe Stories. My ex got her revenge by turning me into a girl. I used to think secrets were harmless. As long as they were buried deep enough, they couldn't hurt anyone. I thought I could keep mine forever. But the thing about secrets is, they always find a way to the surface, especially when someone else digs them up and turns them into weapons. My name's Daniel. 26, freelance graphic designer, quiet type. Not the kind of guy who makes waves. I work from my apartment, small but neat, on the edge of a busy city that never really sleeps. I blend in.
I've always liked it that way.
But there's one part of me that doesn't blend. One part that I've kept hidden behind locked doors and dim-lit mirrors. I like dressing like a woman. It's not just a curiosity. It's something deeper, something hard to explain. I remember being 5 years old and sneaking into my mom's closet just to touch the silky blouses. By 12, I knew what I was doing was considered wrong, weird. So I hid it.
Carefully.
Rigidly. It became this private ritual, something I did late at night when the world was quiet, when I could unzip that invisible skin I wore all day and become her. I didn't even have a name for her until a few months ago. Now I call her Danny. No one knew. Not until Emma. Emma was the kind of girl who could read people like a storybook. She was fire and charm in a designer dress, with a sharp wit and a smile that could cut. We met on a client project. She was doing marketing, I was designing the campaign. One coffee became dinner. One kiss became 3 months of late-night conversations, inside jokes, and lazy Sunday mornings in her oversized bed. She made me feel seen, like I didn't have to pretend. So when she asked if I had any secrets, I hesitated, but only for a second. I didn't tell her everything, just enough to feel brave. I sometimes like wearing women's clothes, I said, barely above a whisper, heart pounding. Emma didn't flinch. She laughed, not mockingly, just amused, and said, "So, you're a little kinky. That's fine." I smiled, relieved, even if it stung that she saw it as just a kink. But that night, things changed. She started making comments, playful at first, about me shaving my legs or how I'd look in a cute skirt. Once, she left a pink satin robe on my bed, just in case Danny ever visits, she said with a wink. It felt thrilling and terrifying all at once. And then she disappeared. No warning. One day we were watching Netflix on her couch. The next, she was ghosting me. Blocked my number, unfriended me, erased me like I was a glitch in her life. It crushed me. I tried reaching out, emails, messages, even visiting her place, but she never answered the door. Weeks passed. I buried Danny again. Put her in the closet, both literally and emotionally. My chest felt heavier without her, like I'd lost a piece of myself. But I told myself it was better this way.
Safer.
Until the box arrived. It came on a Monday morning. No name. No return address. Just a pale pink ribbon tied neatly around a cardboard lid. Inside was a note. "Since you love pretending, I thought you'd enjoy this. Let's see how far you're willing to go now that you've been left all alone." Beneath the note was an outfit. Not just clothes, a complete look. A wig of soft auburn curls, a padded bra, a matching lace set in dusty rose, a flared skirt with a tucked-in blouse, nude heels, press-on nails, and a makeup kit that looked far too expensive for a joke. I stared at it for minutes, hands trembling. I could smell her perfume on the tissue paper. Emma's scent. Was this her revenge? Was she mocking me? Trying to break me? Or worse, staring me? I wanted to throw it all away, but I didn't. Instead, I found myself placing the box gently on my bed. My fingers hovered over the lace, brushing the bra cup like it was something sacred. My heart raced, not with fear, but with something darker, something electric. A question buzzed at the edges of my mind. What if I tried it on just once? Maybe that's how it starts, the real story. Not with love or betrayal, but with a choice. When I wasn't ready to admit I wanted to make. I didn't touch the box again for 2 days. It sat at the foot of my bed like a sleeping animal, quiet, patient, but dangerous. Every time I walked past it, I could feel it breathing. As if Emma had found a way to trap her presence in the folds of fabric. I couldn't escape it. I didn't want to admit it, but I thought about the contents constantly. By Wednesday night, I broke. I shut all the blinds, locked the door, turned off the lights so only the pale glow of the city filtered through the window. My fingers shook as I untied the pink ribbon again, slowly, deliberately, like opening a ritual box. Piece by piece, I laid the items out across my bed. The bra and panties, delicate, lacy, feminine. The blouse and skirt, well-fitted, stylish. A polished, professional look, like a woman heading into the office, or into battle. The heels gleamed under the moonlight like polished glass. I wasn't sure if this was Emma's way of humiliating me or awakening something inside me. Maybe both. I stripped down to nothing. Stood in front of my full-length mirror, bare, exposed. I whispered to my reflection, "It's just clothes." But it wasn't. Slipping on the panties was like sliding into a different world. The lace was soft, intimate, too intimate. It hugged my body in ways that felt both alien and addictive. The bra came next, padded, cupping my chest in a way that made my breath catch. I stuffed it carefully. Too carefully. The blouse buttoned up over my chest, and the skirt hugged my waist just enough to make me gasp. I twirled once, like an instinct I couldn't control, and watched the hem flutter against my thighs. It wasn't Daniel staring back at me anymore. Not completely. The wig came next, heavy but beautiful. It framed my face in soft auburn waves. I pinned it awkwardly, nervously, unsure if I was doing it right. Then the makeup, lipstick first. The bold stroke of red across my lips was jarring. Like a scar. Like a warning. But I kept going. Blush. Foundation. Mascara. My hand trembled, but my focus was unshakable. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. Enough to shift the image in the mirror from a guy in girl's clothes to someone else.
Danny.
There she was again. I felt warm, embarrassed, exhilarated, exposed. I slipped into the heels last. They elevated me, literally and emotionally. I felt taller, prouder, and oddly powerful, but also delicate, like a secret waiting to be cracked open. Then I heard a sound. A knock, faint, distant. I froze. Was it the door? My heart leapt into my throat. I clicked off the hallway light and crept toward the peephole. No one there.
Was I imagining it?
My mind spiraled. What if a neighbor heard my heels clicking? What if someone saw through the window before I shut the blinds? What if Emma was watching? I backed away from the door like it might explode. Panic clawed at my chest. I rushed back to the mirror and stared at Danny. Her lips quivered. Her eyes looked too wide. I didn't look like me anymore. That was the terrifying part. And the thrilling part. Because deep down, in some dark corner of my soul, I didn't want to be Daniel at all, not tonight. But I didn't know how much of that was me. And how much of it was Emma. I didn't take the clothes off. Not even after the knock. Instead, I sank into the armchair by the window, my legs crossed like I'd watched 1,000 women do before. Graceful. Effortless. It felt natural. Unsettlingly natural. Outside, the city buzzed. Cars passed, voices echoed from down the street, but up here, in my dim apartment, time was suspended. The air smelled faintly of rose perfume from the wig. My skin tingled from the unfamiliar makeup. I couldn't stop looking at myself. I kept standing up, walking past the mirror, sitting back down, then repeating the cycle. Like I was testing whether Danny was real or some kind of illusion. And every time, the answer was the same. She was real. She was me. Somewhere in the mess of emotions, shame, thrill, guilt, there was something else creeping in. Comfort. That scared me more than anything. I walked to my desk, heels clicking on the hardwood. I caught a glimpse of myself reflected in the dark monitor, Danny walking with poise, her skirt swaying. It was surreal. Intoxicating. I didn't feel like I was pretending anymore. I felt like I was performing. Like I belonged to this new version of me more than I had ever belonged to Daniel. Then I saw it. Another note. Taped to the side of my monitor. My stomach dropped. I hadn't seen it before. Had it been there all day? Or had someone put it there after the box arrived? It was in the same delicate handwriting. Danny suits you, but you're not done yet. There's more in the closet. My knees went weak. I stared at the words for a full minute, unable to breathe. Was Emma here? Had she been here? Was she watching me now? I turned slowly toward my bedroom. The closet.
No.
I couldn't.
But of course I did.
Inside the closet, tucked beneath a pile of old winter coats I hadn't touched in years, was another box. This one wasn't pink. It was black, sleek, and locked with a small gold clasp. My fingers trembled as I unlatched it. Inside, a phone. Just a cheap burner phone. It lit up the second I touched it. One new message. Put on what's inside the box. You're going to show me the real Danny now. I nearly dropped it. Was this really happening? Was I losing my mind? I checked the apartment again. Locked windows, door still bolted, no signs of intrusion. But the phone had a camera. And that message. The panic rose like bile. Was Emma watching me? Was this blackmail? Then I saw the clothes beneath the phone. A second outfit, this one even more provocative. A skin-tight red dress, matching heels, a silver anklet, false lashes, and a set of earrings that sparkled with cruel elegance. I should have been angry, or scared, or both. But I wasn't. I was curious. What was I doing? Why wasn't I resisting? Why did my fingers reach for the dress with reverence? The fabric was smooth, slippery like temptation itself. It clung to my body, showing every curve the padding had created. My reflection in the mirror no longer looked like a man pretending to be a woman. It looked like a woman stepping out of the shadows, daring the world to look. I applied new makeup, bolder this time. Smoky eyes, the deep red lipstick Emma always wore when she wanted attention. The false lashes took 3 tries to get right, but when I blinked and saw Danny fluttering her eyes back at me, my chest tightened. Was this still a game? Or was it becoming something else? The phone buzzed. New message. Strike a pose for me, Danny. Show me how beautiful you can be. I know you want to. I clutched the phone like it was a detonator. Every logical part of me screamed, stop this. Shut it down. This is twisted. But another voice, softer, deeper, more dangerous, whispered. She's finally seeing you.
The real you.
Don't hide now. I placed the phone on a shelf, angled toward the mirror. I stood in front of it, heart hammering, sweat beading under my wig. My legs were trembling, but my face was calm. Danny smiled. She raised a hand to her hip, tilted her head, and posed like she owned the room.
Click.
The phone snapped a photo automatically.
And I didn't stop it.
I didn't sleep that night. Even after I turned off the phone, shoved it into a drawer, and changed out of the red dress, my mind wouldn't shut off. I could still feel the press of the heels on my feet, the taste of lipstick on my mouth, the way the camera had captured my pose like I was someone worth watching, like I wanted to be watched. I tried to tell myself it was a fluke, that Emma had left the phone before she ghosted me, that she wasn't out there somewhere watching. But when I woke up the next morning, the messages were still on the screen. Danny looked stunning last night. Don't worry, your secret's safe for now. Let's play again soon. I felt sick. It wasn't just the fear of being exposed, it was the fact that a part of me wanted to reply. But I didn't. I turned the phone off. Still, for the next few days, the box remained in my room. The dress stayed hanging on my closet door like a reminder, like an invitation. I went through the motions of my day job. I answered client emails,
sent designs,
sat in Zoom calls with my camera off. But my mind wasn't in it.
Not really.
It was with Danny. And with Emma. That Friday night, I caved again. The makeup went on faster this time, my hands steadier, more confident. I picked the dusty rose outfit from the first box. Subtle, soft, feminine. The second I zipped the skirt, I felt her return.
Danny.
She wasn't nervous this time. She wasn't scared. She was curious, bold. She walked around the apartment like she owned it, like she'd lived here all along, and was finally allowed to show herself. The mirror didn't startle me anymore.
It welcomed me.
But then I heard another sound. A knock. Louder this time. 3 slow taps on the front door. My heart stopped. It was nearly midnight. I rushed to the peephole. Makeup half done. Wig slightly askew. A shadow stood in the hallway. I couldn't see their face, just a silhouette. Then a voice.
Soft.
Familiar. Daniel? I know you're in there.
Emma.
My knees nearly gave out. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I backed away from the door in complete silence, hoping she'd go away. She didn't. She knocked again, harder this time. Daniel, open the door. Or should I say, Danny? A chill slid down my spine. I pressed my back against the wall, chest heaving. Every inch of my body screamed to run, to hide, to erase all traces of who I had become tonight. But it was too late. She already knew. I'm not mad, she said, her voice calm. I just want to talk. I didn't trust it. I couldn't. After a minute of silence, I heard her sigh.
Fine.
I'll leave. But if you're too scared to face me, maybe you're not the girl I thought you were. Footsteps. Then nothing. I waited 10 whole minutes before I peeked through the peephole again. Empty hallway. She was gone. But she'd left something behind. A third box.
Small. White.
Tied with silver ribbon. I stared at it from the peephole like it might explode. My hands didn't shake this time when I opened the door. I picked up the box like it was meant for me. Because maybe it was. Inside was a note and only a knot. If you want to understand why I left, wear this. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. I'll be watching. Beneath it, folded so precisely it looked surgical, was a silk nightgown. Midnight blue. Thin straps. Barely there. I should have felt disgusted. Violated. Instead, I felt chosen. Saturday passed in fragments. I tried to stay busy, laundry, emails, vacuuming a floor that didn't need it. But everything felt like static. My thoughts kept snapping back to that nightgown folded in the box. Every time I opened the fridge or passed the mirror or walked by the closet, I could feel it watching me from the bedroom like some kind of test I hadn't studied for. Wear this. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. I'll be watching. What did that even mean? Watching how? Through the phone? From the building across the street? Was she nearby again? Or was this just psychological warfare, a trap meant to drive me mad? By the time 8 p.m. rolled around, I'd convinced myself I wasn't going to do it. I told myself it was over. That she'd had her fun, that I didn't need to keep letting her manipulate me. I stood at my window, still in my usual jeans and hoodie, sipping cold coffee and staring out into the darkened street. But inside me, Danny stirred. And that's when I felt it. A hollow ache. I hadn't realized how badly I wanted to be her again until I wasn't. Not because Emma told me to. Not because of a dare. But because I needed her. I missed her. So at 8:31 p.m., I opened the box. The nightgown slid over my skin like water.
Cool. Silky.
Sinful. It wasn't modest. The hem stopped mid-thigh, and the neckline dipped low enough that my fake cleavage looked painfully real. I added the wig, brushed until the curls bounced just right. Reapplied makeup, this time with more precision. Bold eyeliner, a sultry shadow, glossy lips. A hint of perfume. Her perfume. Emma's. It was like I was wearing her.
No.
It was like I was becoming her. When 9 p.m. struck, I turned off the lights. Just the moonlight. Just the city. Just me, in this body I didn't recognize, in this skin that wasn't mine but also was. I stood in front of the window, staring at my own reflection. Danny stared back. Not with fear, but with fire. The phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it ring once.
Twice.
Then I answered. Her voice, smooth, calm, oozed from the speaker like silk. I knew you'd do it. My mouth went dry. I swallowed. Why are you doing this? There was a long silence on the line. I could almost hear her smile. Because I needed you to see her, she said. The version of you that doesn't hide. The one I always sensed was there, but you were too scared to show. But this isn't who I am. It's just a side of me. No, she said sharply. This is you. Danny is you. She's the version of you that you kept locked away. I didn't leave because I hated her, Daniel. I left because you kept pretending she didn't exist. My breath caught. I wanted you to show me, she continued, her voice soft again. I would have stayed. But you were so afraid of being seen. You disappeared before I even had the chance to understand you. Silence settled between us, like fog. She spoke again. I never stopped loving Danny. I just couldn't love someone who hated her. I didn't know what to say. She hung up. I stood there in the nightgown, mascara trembling on my lashes, my reflection staring me down like a truth I couldn't unsee. Danny was real. She had always been real.
The doorbell rang.
The doorbell echoed through the apartment like a gunshot. I froze, heart jackhammering in my chest. My reflection in the window still stared back. Danny, draped in silk, painted like a goddess, trembling like a child. For a moment, I thought maybe I'd imagined sound, that I'd slipped so far into my own illusion that now I was hallucinating knocks on doors and voices in my head. Then it rang again, longer this time, insistent. I took a single step forward, the hem of the nightgown brushing against my thigh. Then another. My bare legs shook with every movement, my toes curled against the floor. I didn't know what I was walking toward, closure, humiliation, or something worse. I looked through the peephole.
Emma.
No box. No games. Just her, standing there in a black coat, lips painted the same deep red as mine, eyes sharp as razors. She looked calm. Too calm. I opened the door. Not wide. Just a crack. She didn't flinch at the sight of me. Not even a raised eyebrow. Her eyes skimmed over me, took everything in, the makeup, the hair, the nightgown, and then rested on mine. I was hoping you'd answer dressed like this, she said.
I didn't know what to say.
I opened the door wider without realizing, and she stepped inside before I could change my mind. Her heels clicked against the hardwood like a metronome of judgment. I shut the door behind her. My legs were trembling so badly, I thought I'd fall. I didn't think you'd actually come, I managed to whisper. I told you I'd be watching, she replied, glancing around. And I was. Every message I sent. Every reaction. You think I didn't notice how easily Danny surfaced? She turned and faced me. You didn't need permission. You were just waiting for an excuse. Her words hit like ice water. I wrapped my arms around myself, suddenly aware of how exposed I was. This isn't. I didn't dress like this for you, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Her expression didn't soften. I know, she said. You dress like this for her. For Danny. And I came because I wanted to see her face. Really see her. Emma stepped closer. I could smell her perfume again. Sharp. Familiar.
Disorienting.
But I also came, she said, because I needed to show you something too. She reached into her coat and pulled out a manila envelope.
Thick.
She held it out to me. My hands trembled as I took it. Inside were photos.
Of me.
Of Danny. Candid. Some from angles inside my apartment I didn't recognize. A few from across the street. One of me in the red dress, striking a pose for the camera. Another in the dusty rose outfit, standing in front of the window. What is this? I stammered. Emma's voice turned cold. You weren't the only one with secrets, Daniel. I stared at her, eyes wide. You recorded me? I whispered. I wanted to see how far you'd go, she said. Not just for me, but for yourself. And you know what I saw? Her hand reached up and tucked a strand of hair behind my wig. I saw someone finally free. My throat tightened. This was your idea of helping me? I snapped. Manipulating me? Watching me without my consent? That's not love, Emma, that's revenge, she finished for me. She didn't flinch.
Yes. At first it was.
You lied to me. You hid. You shut me out, and then expected me to understand you with crumbs of truth. I was angry. I wanted to expose you, but then I saw her.
She paused.
I saw Danny. And I realized I didn't want to punish you anymore. I backed away. Tears were stinging my eyes, mascara already threatening to smear. You did punish me. You humiliated me. Emma's eyes softened, just barely.
No.
I forced you to meet yourself. Her words pierced deeper than I wanted to admit. She reached into her coat again and pulled out the phone. The burner phone. Look at it, she said. I didn't want to, but I did. She tapped a video and handed it to me. It was me, in the red dress, striking the pose. But there was something about it. I looked happy, not afraid, not ashamed, not broken, just real. I never showed these to anyone, she said. I never intended to. I just needed you to see what I saw. Someone worth seeing. My chest cracked open. Why didn't you just tell me that before? I said, voice breaking. She looked me in the eye. Because you never would have believed it. My legs gave out, and I collapsed onto the couch. The silk nightgown pulled around me like a costume in ruins. My wig slipped slightly off-center, one strap falling from my shoulder. I felt like two people melting into one, and neither knew what to do next. Emma crouched beside me, reached up, and gently fixed my wig. Then she whispered, "You don't have to hide anymore. Not from me, not from her." I couldn't hold it anymore. I cried, right there in front of her, in full makeup, in a nightgown, as Danny. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't ashamed of it. I don't know how long I cried. Long enough for my makeup to smudge and my chest to heave with quiet, aching sobs. Emma didn't try to stop me. She just sat there beside me, silent, calm, letting it happen, letting me break down the way she'd probably known I needed to for weeks. I wiped my eyes with the back of my hand, forgetting for a moment that I was wearing mascara. It smeared across my cheek like war paint, tragic, messy, honest. I never asked to become her, I whispered. Not like this. Not because of blackmail or mind games or some twisted version of closure. Emma tilted her head. But isn't it funny how quickly you became her anyway? She said gently. I didn't respond. Instead, I stood up, slowly, my legs still shaking, and walked to the mirror. I looked at the woman staring back.
She was a mess.
Mascara smudged, lipstick faded, wig slightly off-center, nightgown clinging to her like a second skin. But there was something behind her eyes. Not fear. And then it happened. The wig slipped. One slow, graceful fall, like time itself bent around it, and landed on the floor at my feet. My breath hitched. The silence was sharp. I stood there with my real hair exposed, sweaty and matted beneath, face painted like a woman, body draped in silk, and I looked half-finished. Like an illusion crumbling mid-performance. But in that broken reflection, I saw me. Not Daniel. Not Danny. Not one or the other.
Both.
I bent down, picked up the wig slowly, and didn't put it back on. Emma rose from the couch and stood behind me, meeting my eyes through the mirror. You've always been beautiful, she said quietly. But you only believed it when you were hiding. My hands tightened around the wig. And now? I asked. Now, she said, you're not hiding anymore. We stood there for a long moment, both of us reflected. Two people who had hurt each other, changed each other, and somehow still ended up here. Then she stepped closer. I need to tell you something, she said, voice lower now. Heavier. I turned toward her, suddenly wary. She reached into her coat, once more. This time, she pulled out an envelope. Another one. This one had my name on it. Daniel Thomas Grant. What is this? I asked. She hesitated. It's a modeling contract. My stomach dropped. What? Emma took a slow breath. You remember that boutique shoot we did for the campaign last year? The one with the androgynous concept I pitched. I nodded. I designed the promo art, never thinking twice about the models. Well, she said, I show them your photo. The one from the red dress. Just as a hypothetical. I took a step back. You what? They were blown away, she continued. They thought you had incredible presence.
Grace.
Duality. They think you could model for their fall campaign as Danny. I was speechless. You sent them photos of me dressed as a woman? No, she corrected. I sent them photos of you being your truest self. And they want to meet her. Not Daniel. Not some masculine version of what you think the world wants. They want Danny. My mind swirled. This couldn't be real. This had to be another game. But she handed me the contract. I scanned the first few lines. Boutique Femfall campaign. Photo concept. Gender fluid aesthetics. Model codename. Danny G. It was legit. And terrifying. I can't do this, I said, backing away. That's not who I am.
Isn't it? She asked.
I looked back at the mirror. The smudged makeup. The bare head. The red eyes. It wasn't perfect. But it was me. I don't know who I am anymore, I whispered. Emma smiled, this time, not coldly, not sharply, but with something that looked like hope. That's the best place to start. The room felt smaller. Like the walls were inching in, crowding the moment with too many possibilities. Too many versions of me staring back, each waiting for a verdict. Daniel, the man who'd kept a secret his whole life. Danny, the persona he'd only let out at night. And now, this third person.
Me.
Emma sat back down, hands folded neatly over her knee, calm as ever. Like she hadn't just set my entire identity on fire. Before you say no, she said, I want to be clear. I'm not asking you to do this for me. I'm offering it to you. For the version of you who deserves to be seen. I clutched the contract, the edges digging into my palms. What if I mess it up? I asked, voice small. What if I get there and they laugh? What if they realize I'm just a guy in a dress pretending to be brave? She shook her head. You didn't look like someone pretending in those photos. You looked like someone becoming. I stared at the paper. My name was on it twice, in a way. Once legally. Once emotionally. Daniel Grant. Danny G. How long have you been planning this? I asked. Emma didn't blink. Since I realized I never wanted revenge. I wanted revelation. I lowered the contract. This doesn't fix what happened, I said. I know. You still disappeared. You still watched me without telling me. I know. And you hurt me. Emma nodded. I won't take that back. But if you take this step, Daniel or Danny, you won't just be healing what I broke. You'll be claiming what's always been yours. Her words sat in the air like a dare. I walked back toward the mirror, bareheaded, half made up, barely holding myself together. I didn't look powerful. I didn't look model-ready. I looked real. And maybe that was enough. I sat down on the edge of the bed, the contract still clutched in one hand. I didn't know what answer I was searching for. Then the phone buzzed again. The burner phone. I blinked. Emma looked just as confused. I reached for it with slow fingers. One new message. We've been watching. You're ready for the next step. Don't be late. I stared at it. What the hell? I muttered. Emma stood up. That's not from me. I looked at her, pulse pounding. Then who? Before I could finish the sentence, the apartment buzzer rang. Not the doorbell. The building intercom. Emma and I locked eyes. Neither of us moved. The intercom buzzed again. I walked to the panel and pressed the talk button. Hello. A voice crackled through the speaker. Feminine. Controlled. Unknown. Danny G? Your car is waiting downstairs. We're ready for you. Emma stepped beside me, color draining from her face. I didn't set this up, she said again, her voice low. I swallowed hard. I think someone else did. I stood frozen in the entryway, in a silk nightgown, holding a modeling contract, with Emma at my side, and someone somewhere waiting for Danny. I didn't know who was watching anymore, but for the first time, I wasn't sure I cared. I didn't move. Not at first. Emma stood at my side, eyes darting between me and the phone, then to the front door, as if someone might barge in any second. Outside, the intercom crackled again. Then silence. The night had gone still. Too still. I turned to her. You swear you didn't set this up? She shook her head. Daniel, I swear. The contract?
Yes.
The phone messages? Some of them. But this? The car? The voice? I don't know who that is. I stared down at the phone. We've been watching. You're ready. It didn't sound like a threat, but it didn't sound like a request either. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought the nightgown might vibrate with every beat. I looked down at myself again. Smudged makeup, bare hair, trembling legs. I wasn't dressed to go anywhere. And yet, I didn't feel like Daniel anymore. Not entirely. Do you think it's a trap? I whispered. Emma hesitated. I think it's a choice. I stepped toward the closet. Opened it. Inside hung the red dress, the one she'd first dared me to wear. Beneath it were the heels, the wig, and a new note taped to the hanger. Wear this. Come as your truest self. No masks this time. I looked over my shoulder at Emma.
She didn't speak.
My fingers touched the fabric. It felt different now. Not like a costume. Like armor. 5 minutes later, I stood in front of the mirror again. Fully transformed. This time, I didn't try to perfect it. I didn't cover every flaw. I didn't try to pass. I didn't try to blend in. I tried to be seen. And when Danny looked back at me, half Daniel, half dream, I didn't feel like I was pretending. I felt alive. Emma followed me downstairs. She didn't say a word, just walked beside me like she was still figuring out if this was a goodbye or something more. The lobby was empty. Silent. Until the doors opened. A black car waited at the curb. Tinted windows. Engine humming. The driver, faceless, genderless, stood by the rear door and nodded to me. Danny G, they said calmly. Why yes? I croaked. No more waiting. They opened the door. Inside, shadows. No answers. No promises. Just an empty seat. And a destination unknown. Emma touched my arm. You don't have to go. I looked at her. My voice shook. But maybe I do. And with that, I stepped inside.
The door closed.
The car pulled away. And behind me, the life I once knew grew smaller in the rearview mirror.
Who were they?
Where was I going? Why did it feel like this wasn't the end, but the beginning? And the question that still haunts me most. Did I choose this, or was I always meant to become her?